Loading. All right. Hello. Welcome to tonight's Ask the Expert. My name is Tamara, and I'm the Literature Academy Manager, and I'm your host tonight. And I'm really excited to be here. Usually, you would see me kind of behind the scenes. Some of you might have heard of me or seen me in the emails or in the Facebook group, but I'm jumping from behind the scenes tonight to host tonight's Ask the Expert lesson. So just tell me where you're from. You guys are my co-hosts tonight, so tell me where you're located, whether you're a new dream builder or what I call an OG, you've been around for a while and you're a pro. Let me know in the comments where you guys are from. So really excited to be here today. Just to remind you of, hey, Tampa, I've lived in Florida. I was in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm in South Carolina now. I'm glad I'm not, well, I'm kind of running from the hurricane, but not as bad as.
Oh,
I know. But about tonight's lesson, one thing I love about the Academy and what we do for you all is that we try to give you everything you need on demand, basically. So over the last couple of weeks or so, there's been a lot of requests for self-publishing courses. And we have one or two, but Michelle said, hey, you know, I have some pointers too. I have some gems to drop. So I think we booked you in like
last week. Yeah.
Right, because we saw that there was a need for it. So we're bringing her in. So let me introduce Michelle to you guys. I see you guys still coming in. New Orleans, Atlanta. All right. Texas. Woohoo, Chicago. Oh, you know what? I want to shout out someone that was really excited about tonight's lesson. Her name was Jeannie, Geany. Today is her 35th birthday. And she said on her bucket list for this year is writing a book. So we are right on time for her birthday. Happy birthday, Jeannie.
Happy birthday.
I know, right? Okay, let me introduce Michelle to you guys. She is she's not new to Literature Academy. She's a returning expert. She also taught a lesson about living like the digital nomad life, breaking outside of the norm, and we'll have the link inside of the Academy there too. But Michelle Jackson is amazing. She's a personal finance influencer, a networking coach, and author. Her mission is to help her clients make money one connection at a time. I love that. We love that. She is the owner of the website Michelle is Money Hungry and produces the podcast of the same name. And when she's not having fun hustling, you will find her hiking in the mountains, which she did today, by the way. She's a little pumped, so the energy is on high. And exploring her hometown of Colorado for cool stuff to share on her other website and podcast, Square Estate. So Michelle, you are a busy lady.
Busy, keep me out of trouble.
So one thing we always hear about when it comes to self-publishing and things of that nature are people, they don't know where to begin. They're overwhelmed. They feel like they don't have the time, or they're scared. You know, that four-letter word that begins with the letter F, fear, is in the way. So kind of she's going to walk us through how to kind of push through all of that, overcome those challenges, and start your self-publishing journey. So take it away, Michelle.
All right. So hi, everyone. My name is Michelle. Thank you so much for the introduction. I really appreciate it. My name is Michelle Jackson. I am not related to Michael Jackson, even though technically I do have an uncle, Michael Jackson. So anyway, so as was mentioned, I do have a lot of different projects that I'm focused on. And one of the results of doing so many things online, a website, a podcast. As a person who's in the personal finance space, I actually do a lot of freelancing. One of the things that came up and has continuously come up is I had the desire to make money passively. The trick with this is passive income in the beginning is never passive. Like you have to take an action, and then once you take that action, you make money later, right? People in the personal finance space find themselves doing freelance writing. It's very lucrative. It can be pretty straightforward, but I found myself really not enjoying it. And this will all make sense in a second and why I started self-publishing. So the problem I had with freelance writing is people always tell everyone, well, when you quit your job, you should freelance write and like be a social media manager and da 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 da. But the thing is, that is not as lucrative as you probably needed to be in the beginning. When you're freelance writing, you have to constantly pitch. You are at the whims of the industry that you're in. So in the summer, as a personal finance writer, I wouldn't have a lot of work because the workload goes down.
Yeah.
And actually right now I notice that my workload is going up because it's going into fall and holiday season and New Year. And so that's when a lot of content's being written. But the thing was, I was like, I want to wake up and I want to take an action every day that makes me money. And I've been trying to figure out, well, what is that going to be? So my blogging makes money, but it wasn't making as much money as I wanted. My podcasting makes money, but again, it wasn't making money as fast as I want it to. Like, it's going to take longer to convert into what I consider real dollars. So this summer, I was like, you know what? This freelancing is getting on my nerves. I didn't quit my job so that I had to write for 15 people. And I should mention why I quit my job in 2014. I quit my job. There are a lot of you guys out there who are like, maybe I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to do something for myself. When I decided to take the leap, I'd been paying off a lot of debt, but I was very depressed. My tooth fell out. My hair was falling out. I gained a lot of weight. So I was having a hard time. And when I decided to leap into entrepreneurship, I just kind of spackled together lots of different ways to make money. Well, this is 2018. And that was at the end of 2014. And I made the best decision for my health. I feel great. I feel happy. Like I thank you. I was out in the sun glowing. But I was like, you know what? I want some of that online income, because the thing is, those reports that you guys probably see where people are making real money online, that's real. I know many, many people making a lot of money doing things like self-publishing, blogging, podcasting, whatever it is that they are doing, but it's online. It's online facing. And so this summer I was like, I'm making money with these other things, but I'm going to try some other stuff. And I decided to write a book. I'd written a nonfiction book, and I'll talk about fiction versus nonfiction. And I was shocked at the reaction to the book. I was shocked at how quickly I made money with it. I was just shocked. And I was so shocked that I was like, I need to tell every single person that I know that you need to get on this, because there are a couple of things. Making money online or even in a bricks and mortar business will change. Right now, we're seeing lots of bricks and mortar businesses close because industry has changed, right? So likewise, with doing things online, you have to kind of jump in and get on it while the going is good, because how you make money, it may change. It might get more difficult over time. And so one of the things I want to talk about first is fear. I noticed that a lot of people were really nervous about publishing their own book. Now, here's the thing. People bought a Cheeto that looked like Harambe the gorilla. Someone bought a Cheeto for $100,000. A Cheeto. So I'm like kind of pissed about that. I'm like, really? Someone's plural, bought rocks that were in leather pouches from Nordstrom's for $85. Okay, for Christmas last season. You can see it on the gift list. Someone paid $66 for collard greens from Nordstrom's. There's a whole bunch of Black women watching this. You know that's wrong. There's not a cute little grandma in Nordstrom's kitchen making some good collard greens. Are you serious? $66? So when I understood that people would spend money on stupid stuff like that, I was like, they can spend $2 or whatever on my cute little book that I'm going to write. Okay. So I'm going to snatch some wigs off your heads about why you need to stop letting fear keep you from doing what you should be doing. The first thing is, if you're writing, especially in fiction such as romance, science fiction, fantasy, those three are the top genres that I think people should focus on for making money. If you're writing a book in that genre, literally people are wanting to read your book. And in fact, there's a special advantage. There are Black people who would love to read your book if your characters also happen to be Black, or some of them. There's an advantage that you have. We are looking for content to read. The internet always needs content. That's how it runs. So if you have a book idea, some creative thing that's just been in your mind that you're like, well, I'm afraid that like it's dumb. No, it's not dumb. It's dumb not to publish your book, because people are always looking at books to read. Think about it this way. If you guys have a Kindle reader, how often do you buy books? And if you have Kindle, the subscription where you're paying $10 a month, are you buying books outside of that subscription? When I noticed that I was doing that, I was like, I need to be writing some books, because I pay $9.99 a month for unlimited Kindle checkouts, but I was still buying books. And that was the clue to me that if I'm doing that, then other people probably are too. So people are afraid to write books because they feel like they have to have a certain type of education. They're like, well, I don't have an English degree. I'm like, Black women are the most educated women in the United States. This is crazy. You probably have more than enough education because you speak English or Spanish or French, whatever. You're fine. You don't need to have a certain kind of degree in order to publish your first book. You don't have to have a certain kind of certificate to publish your book. All you need is a good idea, a cohesive idea, and you need to spend the time writing that idea out and getting it published. And one of the things that I've done is work with people so that they would kind of get out of their heads about all the reasons why they can't publish a book. Basically, all those reasons are crap. There are, if you're worried about grammar, there are programs that you can pay for each month to check. Literally, you write your book, you can upload your book into that program, like sections of your book, to check your grammar. You don't have to worry about that. If you're worried about creating a cover for your book, you don't have to worry about that. You can go to Fiverr and get your book cover created. I pay $15 for each of my book covers. That's including the $7 tip. And the book covers look good. Okay, like Sandy Smith from the Hustle Crew approves my covers like she's my test market. And she will look at the covers. She's like, okay. So the excuses that you might have about why you should not be writing a book, I'm going to tell you right now, they're crap. If you tell me that you have kids, and I love kids, I love children, and you're like, I'm really busy because I have kids. I'm like, I get that, but every single night, because Sandy Smith and I are really good friends, so we'll be on Facebook together. At 12 o'clock my time, 12 a.m. Mountain Time, she is still up at 2 a.m. Eastern.
And let's know, Sandy has an infant, so she is working it out.
She is working. She's got a kid, a tiny one. And so what I would say is, if you're concerned about, well, I have all these things going on, I understand that. It's not forever. It's for a season, right? So what I literally believe that any person, for the most part, who publishes a digital book in particular, and I'm going to kind of get into that, it's very likely you're going to make money if you do a couple different things. So I'm going to talk about fiction first and foremost, and I kind of alluded to it earlier. There are 3 very lucrative genres in fiction writing. There's romance. So think about all the romances. If you're into romances, you probably got one on your desk or in your Kindle right now, okay? Or e-reader or what have you. There's fantasy. So think fantasy would be like Harry Potter-esque kind of books. And then there's science fiction. That could be anything from that's like the X-Files, like that kind of genre, Dune. Anything that's a dystopian novel, which is basically what we're living in 2018, but that's another conversation. So
back in real quick, Michelle, because there's a few questions
okay, let's answer them.
that I want to address.
Okay.
So we have God's Lady First. Amen. I know that.
All right.
What is the name of the program you mentioned for the book cover?
So I use Fiverr. So that's not a program. Fiverr. So I use Fiverr. Mm-hmm. So there, for me, and actually that's a great question. So Fiverr is really interesting because there are different experts within Fiverr. And for those of you who aren't familiar with using Fiverr, basically there are people there who do different tasks for you. So I literally searched for someone to create a book, romance book cover, because that's, I write fiction and nonfiction. The current type of fiction I'm writing is romance. I'm going to talk about why I chose that in a second. But I looked for someone who could create the aesthetic for my cover in Fiverr. I should also mention that it gets very like nuanced. There are people who will do covers for science fiction. There are people who will do urban romance. There are people who will do urban science fiction romance. Like, so you can find someone who really understands the genre that you're writing for, and they can create the artwork that you need to convey whatever it is you're trying to convey in the book that you're writing.
Yes, a lot of comments are saying that they love Fiverr. I love Fiverr.
I love Fiverr.
I mean, you could pretty much just have any kind of task needed out there and they will assist you, and you can kind of work with your budget to figure out who you're interested in and who's good for you. Mm-hmm. Another question from Caliente Queen. So she's wondering about self-help books and education books. What are your thoughts on those?
So that's nonfiction. And so this is a good question as well, because there's a very big difference between publishing and fiction versus nonfiction. I mentioned that there are 3 niches that are very lucrative in the fiction market, which would be fantasy, romance, and science fiction. Nonfiction is tricky in that you really will need to market the crap out of it. I was going to say a bad word. Sorry, everybody. So with nonfiction, you're going to have to really think about how you're positioning your book. So you can't just write a nonfiction book and just leave it and hope it sells. That's just not going to work. So like with nonfiction, and I'll give you an example. I have a book, which is a visitor's guide to Colorado. It's a visitor's guide and a moving guide. So it's for people who are interested in moving to the state of Colorado. And originally I'd had that in Gumroad. And then I was like, that's stupid. Let me move that to Amazon because I could also leverage the Amazon affiliate link. I might get questions about that, so just keep an eye on that. So because I published that book in Amazon, what I do now is I share that book on every single podcast episode, every single blog post that I have, anything that I'm doing specific to my Colorado-based projects, I will share my Colorado book because you have to constantly market those nonfiction. So yes, write your self-help book. Like, no one's read your self-help book. Do it, but just understand that you're going to have to, if you're writing your book to be an expert, you need to have that front and center all the time. You can't like write the book and be like, well, I wrote this book and that was great. You need to write that book and it's on your podcast, it's on your blog, it's on your Instagram, it's on your t-shirt, you're holding it, it's in your headshot picture. You can't just do, and so I worked with, for example, I worked with a really awesome guy who was so sweet. He's like, Michelle, my book's not selling. And I was like, I didn't know you had a book, Kevin. He's a friend of mine.
Why didn't we know about it? What was he doing?
Yeah, I was like, Kevin, I didn't know you had a book. He's like, well, yeah, I published it. I'm like, I never see it. So with nonfiction, you are always sharing that book. You're always getting it out there. And if you're doing affiliate marketing, which I strongly suggest that you do, if you have it published on Amazon, which I strongly suggest that you do, because 70% of people who shopped for the holiday last year in 2017 shopped on Amazon, then you can use the affiliate link and leverage that. So say, for example, someone clicks on your book as an Amazon affiliate, but they don't buy your book, but they buy $700 worth of furniture, winning. Okay? So just If you do anything nonfiction, you're going to hustle that book in front of everyone. Strongly recommend that you do it as an Amazon affiliate. Side note, you can never, ever, ever email an Amazon affiliate link, ever. Do not ever do that, because you will be kicked out of the program. And actually, I want to lead into something. So I specifically publish currently that I only exclusively publish with Kindle. Why do I do that? Because they are partnered with Amazon, and people like me, again, I mentioned that when I was buying books, I noticed that even though I had a membership, a subscription, every month I'm paying $10 for unlimited books, I still was buying books. All right. So I knew that people like me would read the kind of books that I was writing. So I decided to publish in that way. There's good things about that and there's bad things about that. If you publish a book and it's exclusive to Kindle and it's for 3 months at a time, so you just have to renew that every 3 months. If you publish that book on Kindle and it doesn't do well, you cannot publish it anywhere else until they release the title back to you, I guess you would say, in 3 months. So it's your book, but you can only share it exclusively with Kindle for the first 3 months of that agreement. And then there's a renewal phase and you can opt out of that. I've done very well on Kindle, specifically because of the genre I'm currently writing in. So I probably won't do that right now. I probably won't get out of Kindle Direct, but there are some negatives with that. If your book doesn't do well, you can't move out of that market until that three months is done.
Well,
oh, go ahead.
Yes, we have a few more questions coming in, but I do want to touch on, since we're kind of on marketing and Kindle and that whole 3-month phase, can you talk about pricing a little bit and what that looks like across the different, websites, Amazon, Kindle? Are they usually the same, or how do you even know what to price at?
Well, Amazon and Kindle are they're like twins, so they're like connected like this. Yeah. So I price and I'm only talking about digital books. I am not talking about printed books. The reason why I'm not talking about printed books is that's a whole nother animal. So I want you to not get like in your head about, oh, well, I want to print my books out. No, you want to save the earth. Just get your book out there. And then if later you want to create a book that people can print, you can do that later. But really, any of one of you who has a book idea, you should be able to execute that in the next 30 days and get it published, quite frankly. As for pricing, because they're digital books, I personally price mine at $2.99 because I noticed that that was the average price that I typically was paying for my books. So I looked at the just what I would earn. One of the other things I should mention, because this is actually a good segue into that, if you are publishing on Kindle Direct, you get paid per page view. And so that can be very lucrative. And that's why I was like, don't sit on this. If you're thinking about publishing now, especially ebooks, which I would strongly say you should, it's crazy how fast you earn money. So the first month that I published my book, I earned $540 on a book that I spent 23 hours writing. Passive.
Wow.
Yeah. The next month I earned about $850. Again, I spent about 23 hours. That seems to be the average for me with my books. Like that's from start to finish. And then they just make money because they're out there and they're living. I market them a little bit, but I'm going to be marketing more. But literally, you get paid per page read. So if you're published direct on Kindle, that is very lucrative. And what Amazon will do, because it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. Amazon has a pool of money that they actually pay their authors out of. So in the month of August, it was like a $23 million pool of money. And so that affects the pay rate per page for the authors. So each month I'm looking at not just sales of the book, but I'm really looking more at page reads. So I'm wanting more people to actually read my books versus I'm not as worried about them paying for the book actually, right, because the per page is lucrative.
Now, is that, I'm sorry, and I just want to make sure I got this right. Is that on Kindle, or is that for both Kindle and Amazon?
Amazon and Kindle, think of it as the same thing. Same thing.
All right.
Just think of it as the same company. Yeah, easier that way.
Perfect. All right, we have a few more questions. They're flooding in, and they're a lovely topic. I want to backtrack a little bit and just I guess define what publishing means. I think there's some confusion on exactly what publishing means. You spoke a little bit about, saving the planet. It doesn't have to be a printed book. No, I love that. Seriously, everything is digital now.
Yes.
I think a lot of times people are wondering how can they get their book into the stores. But can you talk about what publishing really means and what it looks like in the different forms of self-publishing?
All right. So this is all my opinion. Everyone has one. Okay. I'm one of those people who really loves paper books. Okay, I do. I love the smell of a book. I actually go to the library probably every single week. So I am very, very connected to physical books. But the reality is in 2018, almost 2019, the way that people consume content is different, period. And I think a lot of times authors or would-be authors might be thinking about how they consume content versus the reality. And the reality is people are on social media. They are looking at digital platforms. They're learning things digitally. They're consuming content online. So why make it hard for them to consume your content online? Your content would be your book, right? So while I love paperbacks and things like that, I want you to actually earn passive income. And with paperbacks, who's buying them besides your grandma? So let's not write for your grandma. Let's write for people who are going to pay you and also allow you to share your vision with the world. Again, nonfiction versus fiction, two different animals. They're both lucrative. Nonfiction is going to be harder. It's just the way that it is. And that's okay. You're up for the challenge. Just be aware of that.
Perfect. So can you tell me a little bit about your first book? We just kind of, because this is what everyone's, that's their goal right now, is getting to their first book. How did you determine how many pages it was going to be and, what the title was going to be? Kind of walk us through that process of making those decisions.
Okay, so here's the thing about online books. There's no rule, right? So I'm going to backtrack a little bit and talk about why I picked the genre that I did and then the pages. So currently I'm writing in the romance genre, but I've niched down even further and I'm writing, and this is not the only niche I'm going to write. Okay. So, but I had read an article on a website called Making Sense of Sense. My friend Michelle, because apparently I only know people named Michelle. Michelle had a wonderful woman who I've got to figure out the name of her company, but she wrote a guest post on that website. And she talked about how she was making money as a romance author. She's African American. And she was talking about how she was making this passive income. And I was all like, and I read it a year ago, so it stuck with me because I love romances. So I just was really intrigued by this. And she made a comment, almost like a side comment, but those are the ones you have to pay attention to. She goes, I was making money publishing my books and it was Black love. And then I published another one that was Black woman, white man, like, interracial love. And that one just sold. And I was like, huh, well, I've dated white guys before. Like, that's not, not a big deal. I could write on that. And so I decided to write initially in that genre. Here's the thing. So currently my first set of books, my first series are in the interracial genre. I have tons of Black love books. I have MC romance books. I have like the list of ideas of books that I have are endless. So it goes back to the pages and things like that. I just wrote the book until I felt it was done. So the thing with Kindle is I looked at my reading habits on Kindle because you can see the pages for the books that you've checked out. So I looked and I was like, I averaged a certain number of pages that I like to read, but I also read shorter books, right? So, and in this post that was on Michelle's website, the woman also mentioned, she's like, I wrote short novellas, like fewer than 20,000 words. She wrote longer ones, but they all sold. People still bought them. So my point is, please write your book. It does not have to be 50,000, 60,000, 70,000, 100,000 words unless that is the story you write.
Wow.
Okay.
So you just go with what feels right. Follow your intuition and do what's right for you in your book.
I do average a certain, I like to have mine be 25,000 or more. Like personally, I feel like I can develop more of a story, but I won't say no to a shorter one if it's appropriate for that story.
Yeah, shorter books get more attention. Someone said something like that. Shorter books get more attention. All right, let's talk about the legalities of everything when it comes to nonfiction and when it comes to copywriting. What does that look like? And is it necessary?
Well, yeah, because you don't want people stealing your work. Right. So you like on my every book, you've got that copyrighted, and literally you include a copyright symbol. That is it, and your name, and just there's certain things that you need to share so that people know that any resemblance to real human persons, it's an accident, and you know. But there are some basic things that you would do to indicate that you hold the copyright for that creative work. Not a big deal.
Okay, perfect. I have a question about children's books because obviously we don't have a lot of children that are reading at a very early age. They're wondering if that's a good market to sell digital books for children's book online.
I don't focus on children's books. I freaking love kids, but here's the thing about children's books: you'd have to get the books into the hands of parents, right? So, and I get this question a lot. So maybe there aren't enough children's books out there because this keeps coming up, but that's not my area of focus. What I would say is do it. Why? All you're going to lose is time. If you write a book, like literally my first book was 23 hours and $15 for the cover. Publish it. But if it's a fiction children's book, then you're going to have to market that to parents. So you've got to figure out.
So marketing is key when it comes
to the marketing. And for those of you so I've been blogging a lot, so please forgive me if I use lingo. But the thing is that people are forgetting Amazon is a search engine. And what I mean by that is Amazon, Google, YouTube, those are search engines. Pinterest, those are search engines. People literally go into YouTube and they type in new music 2018, right? How to cook, whatever. They do the same on Google, how to blah, blah, blah. So Amazon functions in the same way. But with a romance or or science fiction or a nonfiction, there are keywords that are used to drive people to your content. So that is actually something that I talk about in the course that I sell. So I talk about just the marketing, but also the fact that there are strategies that you could be using to get people in front of the books that you're creating. But no matter what, like if I do anything on tonight's webinar, if there's the only thing I can do is to convince you that you should be writing your books, then I feel like I've won. You must write your book. Stop sitting on it. It's a mistake. It could possibly be very lucrative. It is shocking to me how fast I've made money with it. It's a short period of time, to really, if you're able to really sit down, focus, and get it done, please do it.
Okay, so yeah, we want them to write the book, and we want to make sure no one is stealing their books and everything that they're writing. So let's talk about copywriting. Give us 3 places to start, or 3 bullet points that they should really follow when it comes to the copywriting process.
You mean like the drafting of their actual book? Because it's a little different than copywriting. So when you're actually creating your book, it's a creative process, right? If it's a fiction book, especially, I tell my students, go for yoga, go on a bike ride, go relax your mind so that you can get the stories to come to you, right? So I think a lot of people way overthink the process of writing a creative book. It's creative. if you make it like work, it's not going to work. So most of my really good ideas, there's a reason why you guys always see me like, oh, I'm going hiking or I'm going doing this. It's because that's when I get my best ideas. So I literally tell people, relax, have a notebook always with you, and then create a framework for the book that you want to write. So you do need to know some things. You need to know the genre that you want to write in. You need to know a basic like story concept. So it's not one of those things where you would be like, I have no clue and then I'm going to go in the forest and hopefully it'll come to me. That won't work. You've got to have some semblance of an idea, something that kind of struck you as appealing to you, that you're like, wow, I would love to read that story, or wow, like this keeps coming to me, I want to write this. So literally relax, do things to relax your mind and start writing that out. Then create a framework off of those creative ideas. And by that, literally, like it could be, what I do is I free flow. Like I will sit down and just write out the story. I will just literally let it come to mind and write out the story. Because it's a creative process, it's hard to, each person and how they approach writing is a little different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So absolutely. And I think
yeah,
that's how people get stuck too. That's what prevents them from even starting the process. But back to copywriting, as far as just the copyright, the legal process to make sure that
So again, it's not that like literally you will just put the, like literally you just put the copyright symbol on there. It's copyrighted to you. When you're uploading your book, you're indicating that you hold the copyright for that creative work. So when you're uploading it onto the platform, it asks if you hold the rights to that book.
Oh, wow. So
yeah, I'm like, what? yeah. It's literally
like all of us in the question and the chat.
They're really worried about that, aren't they? And I'm going to be honest, people still might be shady and try to steal your work, right? But when you've uploaded your book into the platform, it actually has bots that check that you haven't stolen any of that work. And also it has bots to make sure that it's not published anywhere else. So there is like this whole back system making sure that not only are you protected, but that also that you're legitimate in the process of putting your book up. Do you know what I mean? So it is, if it were 2000, it would be different. Now I think it's becoming increasingly more difficult to have people steal your work initially, because when you're uploading it onto these platforms, they actually have systems that check everything to make sure you're not, especially because I do Kindle Direct Publishing. That's the only place my book can be. So they check everything before that book goes live to make sure that it is a creative work, that I have not, that there's no, I can't believe I just forgot the word, that I haven't stolen any work from other people. Like they're checking, like there is a system. So yeah, I wouldn't worry.
I would love to talk about the system. So you have your book, everything is written out, it's ready. What does the process look like when you are approaching Amazon? And is this just like you're signing in, you register for a profile and you upload the information? Is it as simple as that? Or what's the waiting process like?
That's it.
Stop playing, Michelle.
That's it. It's in my course. Like there's a lot in my course. So let's just, but literally that is it. The biggest issue with people writing books is they get in their heads, they overthink it, they make it way too hard. Really, way too hard. Write your book. It is so freaking easy. It's ridiculous how easy it is after the book is written. I will say one last thing. People give themselves too much time to do the writing. So with students in my course, I actually, and a lot of them have started publishing books. There are a lot of people who've already written books that are watching this who still haven't published their freaking book. And the reason why is they're afraid. They're afraid that they have to publish using their real name. Nope, you don't. Even though I'm going to share what my pen name is in this talk, because I'm self-employed, I'm not ever working for anybody else again, so I'm not worried about it. But if you're like, I want to write this steamy romance, but I don't want my name on it because I'm a lawyer, or you know what I mean? Like you want to just, maybe you're shy,
a little bit.
yeah. You're like, I'm shy and I've got this creative thing that I want to share. You can have a pen name. When you create your profile, really, I know on Amazon, my real name is on there, but I upload the books to my profile, but it's all like connected, so I get paid.
Exactly.
You don't even have to worry about sharing your real name.
Wow. So I'm sorry, a lot of people are just completely blown away by this whole entire process and how simple it is.
I think it's not hard.
It was very simple. Get out of your head. Don't make it complicated. Just start writing. And in all honesty, the publishing part is really just uploading the information to Amazon, Kindle, and things. There's no huge get a lawyer, pay thousands of dollars. This is a very simple process. So a lot of our members should be publishing books very soon.
Stop waiting, because I want to read your books. And here's the thing. The internet needs constant content. These bookstores need constant content. But when was the last time you went to a physical bookstore? Let's put it that way. When was the last, in fact, I'm going to ask you guys, ladies, when was the last time you went to an actual bookstore? Drop the date, or not the date, but like say a week, 2 days, whatever. Put it in the comments so that we can see. When was the last time you went to a bookstore? Not including library.
Comments, I know they are.
Okay, I want comments. When was the last time you purchased a book in a bookstore?
I'm the wrong person to ask, because I'm a bookie.
I love me some books, guys. You don't even understand.
I couldn't even tell you. Somebody said months, 2 weeks ago, about 3 weeks, somebody 3 years ago. So I haven't seen anyone that's within a week. It's years. It's been a few years.
Okay. So when was the last time you guys bought a digital book? Or when was the last time you were online to make a purchase? That's a better question. When did you buy something online last?
Someone said they browsed but didn't purchase last year. Someone said I only purchase ebooks, audiobooks.
But let's say clothes, whatever, toilet paper. When was the last time you bought something online? That's a better question.
2 days ago, every day, this week.
So why are you waiting to publish an ebook? So, I mean, this is my point. People are online every single day making purchases. I want them to throw their money at me. And here's what I love about ebooks. Here's an example just for nonfiction. Say, for example, you are a person who's become a big influencer in your genre. I'm going to go with self-help, actually. This is a group for Black women. I haven't seen lots of self-help people for Black women, like not as many as I would like to see. So what if you start publishing short 25,000 word books, kind of covering different aspects of taking care of your health and wellness, and you have it really targeted, for women who happen to be African American, making a certain amount of money, a certain age. You upload that to your author profile, whatever, and you're always sharing this information, your books that you've created with the expertise that you've learned over time. Maybe you were in that field and you learned your expertise that way. Maybe you had nothing to do with that field, but you learned the hard way. So for me, I love that woman asked about self-care, like self-help earlier, because I left a job because I gained 65 pounds. I lost a tooth. My hair fell out. My hair is still messed up. I still have to wear wigs because my hair fell out so bad. Okay. I had anxiety. I had depression. I had to leave my job for that. I didn't have a book from someone who looked like me, not really, that could share, hey, maybe I had the same experience. Hey, this is the stuff that you can do to take care of yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that. So why would you keep your gifts from the world? Like, why would you not share that? Especially if it only takes less than 20 hours to do, as long as you double check it with the grammar. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. It is such a big opportunity it makes no, this is why I'm just sharing so much with people. I'm like, I have a course, and even if you don't take the course and you're all about doing extra research, you do that, but still get your books out there. It makes no sense. Leverage the internet because it will leverage you. But if you're smart, you can really optimize the opportunity to get your creative works out there. Why I love writing ebooks, I can write a book every single week. I do not have to wait for an editor to give me an assignment. I don't want to work for other people like that anyway. Like, if you ask Sandy Smith, she thinks I'm hilarious because I've always been very focused on passive income. That's always been my thing. I'm A, B, see your way out. I don't like anyone between me and my coins. So if that means that I could literally write a book a week, which is actually what I can do. I've got a very aggressive publishing schedule. I have that many ideas in a lot of different genres in fiction specifically, but I also have my nonfiction. So again, my Colorado book, I said, I'm sharing that everywhere. I'm in the personal finance space. I am writing a book for that. That's going to be released in January. I will be sharing that book everywhere. You will only know about that book because my romance novels have a pen name. I'm going to share that with you guys, but you know what I mean?
Waiting to the end for you to drop the pen name. So
yeah.
Michelle's mine here. We have a few more questions.
Let's
We're about
do it.
A little over 10 minutes left, so I want to get through all of them. Cece, she wants to know, how important are your first week of sales on Amazon, and what are the keys of becoming an Amazon bestseller?
I have not become an Amazon bestseller yet. But what I've observed with people who are, they probably have a really well-established email list. And I talk about how you can do that in my course. It's super straightforward. And I share the email service provider that I recommend. I also think that they just write, there are certain writing strategies that you can do to get people to continue to read your works. So one of the things that I do, and it goes back to emailing, I email my list, the readers. They actually opt into my email list at about 50%, which is extremely high. That's a very high percentage. Typically, email opt-ins are about 15 to 20%. Wow. So 50% is like, I'm like, I'll take that, right? And so I think that just having people really excited about the books, like as you become more and more known, like well-known, people get more and more excited about you. So in another couple weeks, I'm doing like an online book fair for an author who's releasing a new book. And so she asked several of us who are writing to pitch our books too. And we're like, okay, like we're going to get your book sold and share our, yeah, it's the coolest thing. She's so awesome. And so there's a lot of different ways you could be marketing your books. I personally am not as worried about the first week. I wanted to do well, but who cares about the first week? I want to make money for the next 2-3 years. It's passive income. So my goal is to just grow my email list and make sure that I'm releasing good books. In my case, I have a very aggressive earning strategy that I'm looking at. I can share that later, but I'm publishing pretty frequently because I do not want to be doing any kind of freelance writing by the end of this year. I'm done.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm done. And personal finance freelance writing is very lucrative. So to give you an example, when I first started freelance writing, I was making like $15 an hour like an idiot because I allowed myself to accept those darn gigs. It would have been better just to do it for free. Now I do, like I just did a project last week. It took me about 4 hours and I did an interview as well. This was not paid well, by the way, before I give you the amount I was paid. But it was easy. So I was like, whatever. And I'm paid $600 for that. So that was 4 hours of work. You know, that's good. But I still had to deal with an editor, super sweet, but I don't want to be doing that. If I literally know that I have a year's worth of creative ideas that I could just sit down when it's quiet. It's Colorado. It started snowing in the mountains already. So I'm going to have quiet time soon. And I could just write all the time until I out earn what I was earning in freelance writing. Why wouldn't I do that? It's just much easier.
So it sounds like you've been writing so much now when it comes to your blog and everything. You're at a comfort level where you're able to just produce and be creative and write the book and publish it. But for people who are starting off, or in the beginning when you started writing, did you have someone edit it? Did you, I don't know, have like a testing period? You wanted to hear reviews before you published? What did that look like?
No, so I think that I'm gonna be honest, people will. I don't think it's a bad idea to have people edit your work if they're professional editors, but I think with these short books, you don't need to do that. There are online programs that you can run your book through to help you with grammar and stuff and cohesiveness and things like that. Most of you guys are working jobs as professionals doing professional writing. You probably have to do reports. You probably have to do synopsis of the work that you've done. You probably have to do, if you're an educator, you're always doing something that's writing. So why would you need to do go through giant hoops to make sure that your writing is you know if your writing's cohesive. So if a character does one thing at the beginning of the book and then they do it at the end of the book, obviously that makes no sense, right? So one of the ways that I avoid that is, and I mentioned it very quickly, I will freehand write the book out really fast, and then I will actually type out how it flows, like a table of contents, so that when I actually type and that takes like 10 minutes to do that. So when I'm typing the book and I'm looking at my notes, the freehand, it's faster because I know I'm not going to accidentally mix things around or do something weird or confuse the storyline. And so that makes the writing much faster because it's all I freehand it, then I read it as a reader. I'm like, oh, that's really good. Or, oh, that's kind of a mess. And then I clean it up. I do the table of contents and then I just type it out. And then that way I know that it's going to flow in a cohesive manner.
And when you're publishing this, are you using PDF files, docs?
That's in the course. That's in the course. So that you do have to upload it a certain way.
Okay, yeah. Perfect. So yeah, she has a course and we're going to be sharing the link and giving a special price to the Dream Builders. You know, every time we collaborate, we work out a special deal. So she's going to hook y'all up. We have a few more questions. How do you feel about Grammarly?
Love it.
You're like, word, yes.
And as a freelancer, I use that all the time. That's one of the products I very much recommend.
And what are your feelings on CreateSpace, selling on CreateSpace versus Amazon and Kindle?
Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I got you.
Someone's wondering, what are your thoughts on CreateSpace?
Love it. I'm going to be writing I'm writing a actual personal finance book that will release in the beginning of January. And that one I will use CreateSpace. CreateSpace and Amazon are actually combining, which is going to make things easier. CreateSpace Kindle, it's combining. So that's going to make life easier for everyone because then you don't have to go to two different places. So actually I'm lucky that I didn't publish my my book, my paperback book in September like I originally planned, because then I would have to move my profile and stuff and it would be confusing. So by the time I publish my paper book, which will also be digital, that change should be finished in CreateSpace and Amazon. They should be combined by then.
Okay, perfect. So we have Purple Butterfly, and I'm excited that you're doing both. So is this the first time doing both, Michelle?
Doing
a paper copy and a digital copy?
The one in January, yes.
Right. So we're going to be checking in to see how that went because a lot of people are curious about the paper copy as well. Should your pen name be trademarked or protected too?
I think eventually yes, because people are shady. So I think there's a point where you might be making enough where you definitely would need to explore that. So I don't feel I'm at that point yet. However, I am going to make sure that I begin looking at that because that's going to be an issue. Sooner or later, that's just an issue. you know.
And I'm glad you kind of said that. You mentioned that, you know, you basically want to be at a certain point where you're dishing out all this money to, you know, work on all the legal parts of writing and pen marking and things of that nature. Can you talk about what the fees look like when you're first starting? So you're starting your first book, from everything from beginning to end. I know you mentioned the cover, which was dirt cheap. Like, I can't even believe how cheap it was to get the cover of the book. How much would you say you paid for everything?
I'm serious. I paid $15.
There you go.
I mean, I literally paid $15.
A lot of people are saying that one of the fears, or one of the major factors that are holding them back, is the fees. The fees that they believe, they're thinking they're going to spend thousands of dollars, and there you go, guys, $15.
I mean, you're going to spend time. That's it. You're spending time.
So you talked about freelancing a little bit. There's some people that are curious. What are you using? How do you find freelance work?
Again, I'm over freelance work. So I'm in the personal finance space. So because of that, I attend conferences and things like that where I'm in front of other people who also are looking for writers. So it could be, so typically I don't write for other people. I write for organizations, because organizations actually have money. So I hate to say this, but if you're going to write for, someone, I think that they probably won't, they need to be like a Tiffany, because Tiffany has money, right? They can't be like some Joe Schmo at some small little shop, because they're not going to pay you, you know, like $600, $900 like what I get. Like, that's just, it's just not lucrative enough. And you're going to have 3 times the amount of clients that you think you're going to have, that you're thinking you're going to need. Right. So that's part of the reason why I don't like freelancing. Is freelancing, you're going to need a lot more clients than you think you will in order for it to really make sense. But if you want to freelance, just understand that you need to be very clear about your niche. Is your niche even lucrative? Freelance writing and personal finance and finance is lucrative, period, because they're dealing with money, you know? So that is why I can make good money, because it's pretty lucrative.
How long would you say it took to kind of get to a point where you were comfortable with the income that you're receiving?
I'm not comfortable. That's why I'm doing this other stuff, because I want to make more money than what they want to, I mean, process. Serious. Like, I want to, do you want me to tell you how much money I want to make? I'm not even going to.
Tell us the goal.
Okay. So I'm looking at making eventually 6 figures a month, because again, it's online.
Pause for a minute, because I want them to catch what you just said. She said 6 figures a month. And just writing.
Yes.
Books that are digital and possibly paper copy, but 6 figures a month.
Well, but remember, I have other things that I do. So I have the blogging, I have podcasting, I do a couple other things. So it would be all that combined. With the books, by this time next year, I would be surprised if I wasn't making at least 5 figures, high 5 figures. I would be really surprised by that. Like, I'm thinking minimum 10,000 a month, minimum. I don't see why. Yeah, just based on the output that I'm willing to do, like the hard work I'm willing to do. And here's the thing. So actually, I have a book. Sorry, guys, I'm going to pop off for a second. So there's a book that I've just started reading called The 10 Times Rule. Even though I think he can be kind of a jerk, this book, I think a lot of people need to look at. And it talks about how most people don't do as much work as you probably need to do to get the result that you want. So I want to make a lot of money because I want to pay off my mom's mortgage. Okay. I want to pay off my mortgage. I don't want to do that like 3 years from now. I want to do that as soon as possible. I'm done. I want to have money in case I need to leave America because it's crazy right now. I want to have money to help other people. I'm being clear, okay? I'm telling the universe why. I want to have money so I can go to the doctor so they can figure out what's going on with my hair because I'm sick of it. Okay. I want to have money so that I can potentially adopt. You know, I want to have money so that if I need IVF, I can get that done. I want to have money so that
when you are focusing on your different, you know, your jobs, the podcast, the blogs, the writing, one thing that's keeping you going are your whys. So
yes,
your goals, I see you have them listed and ready, and that's what's going to keep
my future husband will not need to worry about the cost of our wedding. All right.
Yes.
He's not going to be trifling either. He's going to have his money. But I'm just saying, I see where my hard work and where opportunity is, and I'm trying to get as many people to come with me. And I'm like, if you don't mind being a little sleepy for a year to really just get this going, understand how you can market stuff. That's why I created the course. That's the whole reason why I created the course. So that, because this is not enough time to have community and support and to talk about all the other, it's just not enough time. Like, if, again, this is enough time to just at least change the minds of people who've been sitting on their ideas and they haven't gotten it done. That's it.
Well, let's talk about your course, because they are ready to enroll. You done spoke to their soul. They're like, yes, they're just ready to get going. So tell them about the course. And then also there's been some questions about whether you do one-on-one consultations or just walk us through the process and what everything's going to look like.
So I actually am a networking and business strategy coach. So this book, this whole thing, that's part of my own personal business strategy. I'm enrolling people into that group coaching program, but I have a webinar on Wednesday. There will be a replay, and you guys are very welcome to join in on that, to request information on that. It's basically about crushing your next conference, because a lot of people, again, this goes back to books too, actually, building your authority, getting people to shout out what you're doing, getting amazing people like Tiffany. Like, literally, I was like, Tiffany, I did this thing. She's been watching. She knows that I did it. I was like, I don't know if you're still needing an expert. If you are, I would love to help you guys out. Boom. Here I am a week later after I made that request. I was lucky because I was like, oh, but still, it's because of my network. So I'm doing a whole webinar called Crush the Conference. For all of you guys going to conferences, you're not getting your return on investment. It's like an expensive vacation. Check that out. And it's at michelleismoneyhungry.com/crush, CRUSH. Okay. michelleismoneyhungry.com/crush. So I only do consultations going into like that group coaching, networking, and business strategy program. That's it. For the course, I'm going to talk about the course, which was what this was all about, which is make money with ebooks. It is my goal, like it is my mission in life with all my online projects, the things that I'm sharing with people, to get people financially healthy. Doesn't mean that I'm 100% there, but I'm closer than I was when I started this journey, and I'm really proud of that. So I want to say that to everyone who's on a journey.
Yes.
You know, like, keep going, keep going. My goal is to help people to create the best lives that they can using their skills, so that you don't have to ask permission to do the things that are best for you. There's a reason why, like I said, I want to make the kind of money that I want to make, but I want to bring everyone with me. I'm like, come with, let's do this. Make money with ebooks. The goal is really to get people to publish the books within 30 days or less. Because a lot of people probably already have a book that they fleshed out. They just haven't gotten it out, and they need encouragement and support. I have twice a month office hours for that course, which is pretty awesome, because you'll talk with me and the other people in the course and encourage each other. There's a closed Facebook group that supports the course. So you have to have purchased the course in order to participate in that Facebook group. So extra things as they come up will be shared in the group. Every other week, you can actually share your book. I encourage people to share their earnings. Like, energetically, the idea is to get people focused and get it done. Because a lot of people, they've been in their heads, they overthought it, and they're still like 7 years away from, they literally have a book that they wrote 7 years ago that's in their hard drive.
Wow.
We don't do that in my course. I'm like, get it done. All right. Marketing. I go really heavy on marketing in the course because I want people, because once you, like the writing part's kind of tricky because it can take people a little while. Maybe you don't get it done in 30 days, which is my goal for all of you. Maybe you get it done in 6 weeks. That's better than the 7 years that you sat on it, right? Mm-hmm. Then we talk about all the marketing, like all the different ideas of what you can do to get in front of people based on the genre of book that you have.
So this course is not just for people that are writing romance.
No, it's nonfiction and fiction.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me see if there are any additional questions. I know that we'll have the link, guys. The link will be posted inside of the Academy right underneath this video. It will also be posted in the Facebook group. Everyone is just saying thank you so much, Michelle. They are loving everything that you shared today, and they're ready to start writing and start publishing.
Yay! And you know what? I have a link for Tiff. Let's see. So go to, I just have to, if you want to check out the course, I just have to check this out. So the course link, which I just made, all right. So the course link is michelleismoneyhungry.com/dream, DREAM. And the savings code for the next until Wednesday. So right now the course is $167. That's the beta price. That is low. That's it will not be any lower than that for the rest of the year, period. You do have a 25% off code, which is, I think it's Tiffany. Let me triple check that. I'm pretty sure I made it Tiffany. Yes, so the code is Tiffany, TIFFANY. It's for 25% off.
You guys have it. It's www.michelleismoneyhungry.com/dream, correct?
Yes.
And for 25% off, the promo code is Tiffany. Is there an expiration date on this
Wednesday.
promo?
Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly, tomorrow we're having office hours. If you can't attend the office hours, all of the content is in the course platform. So I do record them and then I upload them into the course. So just heads up if you can't attend that, but those are really helpful. A lot of times people will purchase courses and then the person who's created the course isn't around. I felt like for this, it's kind of a heart project. Like it's this thing that I'm so in love with. And I love just talking to the authors and seeing, and I call them authors. So when you're in that course, you're an author, okay? It's all positive energy. It's all getting it done. You are only surrounded by people who want you to win. You get a lot of other people who are like, oh, I don't know why you're going to write that book, girl. That's not this course. My thing is you are going to write this course. You're going to write this book and you're going to do it as soon as possible. We're going to get it done. So I'm very, very, very focused on getting people to get it done because a lot of times you've stalled and don't stall on sharing your gifts and don't sit on this digital opportunity because Amazon changes things. So maybe in a year, if you've waited, the way that they're paying people might change. But if you have a year's worth of content, you can, things published, fiction or nonfiction, you can adjust to that versus next year you're starting and you're like, oh crap, now I have to figure this out. For people who blog, a good example of that is Pinterest. Pinterest is awesome. It's so fun. And a lot of bloggers made a lot of money on Pinterest because they could share their articles on there and people could find them really easily. Pinterest changed how that worked and people, including myself, actually, their numbers tanked. It was a big deal and they lost a lot of money, right? I still haven't recovered from that. I'm just now getting like page views again. So with online creativity and sharing stuff, there's a huge opportunity. Periscope is another example. Where is Periscope now? Don't sit on this. The sooner you start, the better. It's just going to feel good to finish what you started. Like that alone is worth it. Like don't, oh, and by the way, I want to share the book. So I forgot about that. So I write romance. I actually will also be writing science fiction. That will be in the spring. My pen name is Autumn Stone. I know.
Autumn Stone.
Autumn Stone. It's for grown-ups though. I write bad words and things. I'm just sharing like all the stuff I would never share, like say out loud. Those are in the books. So I'm very sweet and nice, but those are steamy. So so check them out. Steamy. So you know, but I use a pen name because sometimes the pen name is better than your actual name for the genre, right? So when I write my science fiction, I'll probably create a different pen name that's a little better for science fiction. I haven't decided yet. But check it out. It's Autumn Stone. It's grown-ups, so you know they do the deed and all that. I'm just saying, like it's not, you know.
So it's rated R, possibly rated X. So beware.
No, rated R plus. What is that? Whatever that is. But so yeah, just for grown-ups. But please check them out. Have fun reading them. It's been so much fun. It's been fun getting other people to write their books. It's been fun helping my friend move his nonfiction book in finance from where it was stagnating to almost the top 5 in his niche online. Like it's just, I want you guys to win. That's all I can say. I want you to win. I want you to make your money. Boom.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Michelle. We have a few people that are already purchasing the course, so you will see them.
Use the savings code.
Yes, use the savings code, which is Tiffany. I think we all know how to spell Tiffany. We love her so much. T-I-F-A-N-Y. 25% off until this upcoming Wednesday. So hurry up, lock in your special discount for that course so that we can see you and your book on the market. Once again, the link is here inside the chat. It'll be posted inside of the lesson and also inside of the Facebook group. And after we're done and disconnected, I would love for you guys to go over to the Facebook group. There will be a message posted at the top. Michelle will also be tagged to it. She's inside of the group to continue on the conversation with any questions you may have. And all of the links will be posted there too. So thank you, Michelle, so much for dropping all of these gems. So many people feel so much like just
your book
and feel this is possible. So thank you again. We'll see you inside the Facebook group, and everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And are you gonna write a book too?
I mean, you made it so easy. I'm starting tonight.
Yes, I'm like, I want to read your book.
All right, guys, have a good evening.
Bye.